Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to share something really special with you. I'm talking about what I call the big four natural anti-inflammatory foods that you can find right in your local grocery store, places like Walmart, Kroger, or any supermarket you normally shop at. These four foods are not only affordable and common, but their ability to fight inflammation and support your immune system is absolutely beyond what most people realize. Making them a regular part of your diet can help you stay healthier and deal with fewer sick days. Now, I'm not just going to tell you what they are. I'm going to break down the science behind why they work, and I'm going to show you exactly how to prepare them so you get the maximum benefit. And honestly, the best flavor too. And here's the thing, especially for the third and fourth foods we're going to talk about. I see so many people who have been eating them their entire lives, but they're throwing away the most powerful, most anti-inflammatory part without even realizing it. They toss it right in the trash like it's garbage. And that is such a missed opportunity. So let's get right into it. Let's look at these four natural anti-inflammatory foods and how you can start using them today. The first natural anti-inflammatory food on our list is a green you might know as shepherd's purse. Depending on where you grew up, you might call it by different names. Some people call it by different regional names. But when you're at the farmer's market or the grocery store, you're looking for a leafy green with edges that are slightly serrated, with stems that have a little bit of a reddish tint to them. And when you smell it, it has this unique, fresh, almost earthy aroma. That's the one. Now, back in the day, especially in more rural areas, this stuff used to grow everywhere along roadsides in fields these days, especially in the spring. It's actually something people get really excited about at markets. And there's a reason for that. In many traditional systems of medicine, shepherd's purse isn't just seen as a wild green, it's considered a real medicinal food. The thinking is that it has powerful properties that help cool the body and clear what's sometimes described as heat. Let me paint you a picture. Have you ever had those days, especially when the seasons change in the spring, where you just feel irritable for no reason? Maybe you feel a little dizzy or foggy, your throat feels dry and scratchy no matter how much water you drink. Or you even get these sudden toothaches or gum pain. You go to the dentist, you go to the doctor, and they run tests, but everything comes back normal. There's no obvious infection, no cavity, nothing wrong on paper, but you still feel terrible in many traditional approaches. This is understood as something like rising liver fire. The idea is that spring is a time of growth and movement, and sometimes that energy can get a little out of balance, especially as we get older. That energy rises up to the head and causes all those symptoms, the dizziness, the dry throat, the unexplained dental discomfort. And this is where shepherd's purse comes in. Eating it during this time is almost like giving your body a gentle, cooling rain. It helps settle that excess energy and calm those symptoms down. It's timely, it's traditional, and it works with your body's natural rhythms. But here's the thing. Modern science and nutrition research has also taken a very serious look at this green, and researchers have given it a pretty impressive nickname. They call it the natural antibacterial vegetable. Studies have shown that compounds extracted from shepherd's purse have a clear, measurable effect on acute inflammation in the body. We're talking about things like upper respiratory infections that are so common in the spring, or acute sore throats with swelling and pain. The active compounds in this green can actually help inhibit bacterial activity and reduce that swelling and redness in your mucous membranes. It's like taking a natural anti-inflammatory that works directly on those tissues without the side effects you might worry about with medications. So, okay, it's powerful, but how do you actually eat it in a way that preserves those benefits and actually tastes good? Because if you take high heat to it and stir fry the heck out of it, you're going to lose a lot of those delicate volatile compounds that do the good work. My favorite recommendation, and honestly the most classic way to enjoy it, is a simple cold salad with smoked tofu. It's beautiful, bright green and white, and it's incredibly fresh and delicious. Every bite tastes like spring. Here's exactly how to make it. Step by step. Step one is cleaning and blanching. This step is absolutely crucial. When you bring your fresh shepherd's purse home from the market, you need to wash it really, really well. Rinse it multiple times to get any sand or grit off, then get a pot of water boiling. Now, shepherd's purse naturally has a little bit of a bitter, astringent taste. Don't see that as a bad thing. That's actually a sign of those beneficial compounds at work. We're going to blanch it briefly in that boiling water. Here's a little pro tip for you. When you blanch it, add just a couple drops of oil to the water. This helps the greens hold that vibrant green color. You don't want to leave it in long, just until it changes color and softens slightly. Then immediately scoop it out and transfer it to a bowl of cold water, ideally water that's been boiled and cooled. This stops the cooking and keeps the texture nice and crisp. Step 2 is chopping. After it's cooled down, take a handful of that blanched greens and squeeze out every last drop of water. I mean, really squeeze it. You want it as dry as you can get it. Then put it on your cutting board and chop it until it's very fine. Step 3 is prepping your tofu. Get some good quality smoked tofu that has a nice firm texture. Cut that tofu into tiny little cubes, just as fine as your chopped greens. Step 4 is mixing and seasoning. Find a big bowl and put your chopped greens and your tofu cubes in there together. Now we're going to season it. Add a little salt to taste, add a tiny bit of MSG or chicken style seasoning if you like. That's optional, but it does bring out the savory flavor. Add just a pinch of sugar. This helps balance any remaining bitterness and rounds out the flavors. Then add a tiny splash of vinegar, something mild like rice vinegar works great. And finally, drizzle in some sesame oil. Take your chopsticks or a spoon and mix everything together until it's well combined. See how simple that is? You didn't have to heat up oil. You didn't need any complicated cooking techniques. This is something you can make for yourself or for your family any day of the week. Having a small bowl of this at lunch or dinner, especially during the spring, is refreshing, and you can actually feel that cool, soothing sensation as you swallow it without even thinking about it. You're helping your body deal with inflammation before it really takes hold. All right, so that's number one. Now let's move on to the second natural anti-inflammatory food on our list, and that's dandelion. Now, dandelion is often called the queen of herbs, and it's considered by many to be the ultimate when it comes to natural detox and fighting inflammation. Dandelion isn't just some weed you try to get rid of in your lawn. In many traditional medicine systems, it holds a place of real honor and respect. In fact, in some countries, it's been officially recognized by health authorities as something that's both a food and a medicine. That's a pretty big deal. What that means is it's not just something you can safely eat as a vegetable, it's also something that, in the right circumstances, can be used therapeutically to help with illness. So, why does dandelion deserve this reputation? What's actually going on in terms of inflammation and immunity? Scientific research has confirmed that the milky white sap inside dandelion stems and roots contains a whole range of really valuable active compounds. These compounds have some pretty impressive antibacterial and anti-inflammatory effects. That white sap is essentially the plant's own natural defense system against bacteria and other invaders in its environment. When we consume it, it can work in our bodies to help fight off certain kinds of harmful bacteria, including things like Staphylococcus and Streptococcus. And this brings me to something I have to emphasize because it's such a common mistake. A lot of people, when they get dandelion, whether they're foraging it themselves or buying it at the store, they make the same error. They take that bunch of dandelion and they only keep the green leaves up top. Then they take that long, thick root at the bottom and they cut it right off. They throw it away. My friends, please listen to me. If you're throwing away that root, you are throwing away the most valuable, most concentrated source of benefits in the whole plant. The root contains high levels of those bioactive compounds, in many cases, even higher concentrations than the leaves. Those compounds in the root are a big part of what makes dandelion so supportive for your liver's natural detoxification processes and for helping your body manage low-grade chronic inflammation. So from now on, here's the rule: keep the whole plant, wash it carefully, roots and all, and use everything. Now, fresh dandelion as it grows in the spring is tender and delicious. You can use it in salads, you can chop it up and mix it into ground meat for dumplings or meatballs. You can even scramble it with eggs. It has a unique, slightly bitter flavor that a lot of people really grow to love. But here's the practical challenge. Fresh dandelion season is short. It's only around for a few weeks in the early spring. So how do you make sure you can get those anti-inflammatory benefits all year long? The best method, and it's one of my favorites, is to dry it and make your own dandelion tea at home. Let me walk you through exactly how to do that. Step one is selection. You want to pick or buy young dandelion plants that haven't flowered yet. The ideal time is early spring when the leaves are tender and before that bright yellow flower has appeared. Once the plant flowers, it puts all its energy and nutrients into that flower and then into forming seeds. The leaves and root get tough. They get more bitter in an unpleasant way, and a lot of that medicinal potency drops off significantly. So go for the young pre-flower plants. Step two is cleaning. Put your dandelion roots, leaves, everything into a big basin or bowl. Fill it with water and add a little salt. Let everything soak for a while. That salt water helps to draw out any tiny insects or little critters that might be hiding in the leaves. After soaking, rinse everything very thoroughly under running water to get all the salt and anything else off. Step three is dry roasting, and this is the crucial step for making tea. Take a clean, dry skillet or frying pan. Do not add any oil. Put your clean, slightly damp dandelion plants right into the dry pan. Turn the heat to low and just let them dry out. Use your spatula or your hands to toss and turn them constantly so they don't stick or burn. You're not frying them, you're gently toasting them. Driving the moisture out as the pan heats up, spread them out evenly. Do this for maybe 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how much you have. In tea, making this process is sometimes called fixing or kill green. It helps remove that raw, grassy smell and also transforms some of the compounds to make them more available when you steep the tea later. Step 4 is air drying. Once your dandelion is softened and you can smell that toasty, earthy aroma, take it out of the pan, spread it out in a single layer on a clean basket. A tray or a drying rack, put it somewhere well ventilated, away from direct sunlight, and let it sit until it's completely dry and crisp. This might take a day or two depending on your climate. Once it's fully dry, you can crumble it up and store it in a sealed glass jar, and that's it. You've made your own high quality dandelion tea. When you want a cup, just take a small pinch of your dried dandelion, maybe a teaspoon or so, put it in a mug and pour hot water over it. You can drink it plain or you can get creative. A lot of people like to add a few dried chamomile flowers or a dried chrysanthemum flower to the mix. Chamomile is calming. Chrysanthemum is traditionally thought to be good for your eyes and your liver, and combined with dandelion's anti-inflammatory properties, it makes for a really wonderful health supporting beverage, especially in the spring. Now, I have to give you a very important warning here. As effective as dandelion is for inflammation, it has a specific property that not everyone tolerates well. In traditional systems, dandelion is considered very cold in nature. It's like ice water for your system. It cools things down. So if you're the kind of person who has a sensitive stomach, if you find that eating cold foods or drinking cold drinks gives you digestive upset or diarrhea, you might fall into the category of what's sometimes called a cold spleen and stomach type for you. Dandelion might be too much, especially if you use it a lot or on its own. If you do want to use dandelion tea, but you have that kind of sensitive digestion, here's a simple fix. When you brew your tea, add a couple of thin slices of fresh ginger to the cup along with the dandelion. Ginger is naturally warming and stimulating to digestion. It helps balance out the cold nature of the dandelion so you can still get the anti-inflammatory benefits without upsetting your stomach. This is a great example of how traditional food wisdom and modern needs can come together. All right, let's move on to the third natural anti-inflammatory food, and this one is a big one: garlic. Garlic is one of those things that has an absolutely untouchable place in our kitchens. We use it to flavor almost everything. We saute with it. We put it in pasta sauces. We eat it with bread. We definitely need it with dumplings. It's everywhere, but here's something a lot of people don't know. In the international medical and research community, garlic has a seriously impressive nickname. It's often called the antibiotic grown in the ground. That's a bold claim. So what's the science behind it? Is it really comparable to something like amoxicillin or other antibiotics in terms of fighting bacteria? The answer is yes, in its own way. The reason garlic is so powerful comes down to a very specific compound it contains called allicin. Allicin is essentially a gift from nature. It's a potent natural substance with strong antimicrobial properties. It's what's called a broad spectrum antimicrobial, which means it doesn't just work against one or two specific bacteria. It's effective against a wide range of them. We're talking about bacteria in your gut that can cause digestive issues like certain strains of E. coli, as well as bacteria that can affect your respiratory system. Allicin helps inhibit the growth and reproduction of these harmful microorganisms. And it doesn't stop there. Research has also shown that allicin has effects against certain viruses and even some parasites. It's a remarkably versatile compound, and this is a huge but I would estimate that about 90% of people are eating garlic in a way that completely fails to unlock this potential. They're getting the flavor, but they're getting almost none of the allicin. Here's the thing: a whole intact clove of garlic contains absolutely no allicin, zero. What it actually contains are two separate substances, one called alliin and an enzyme called alliinase. Think of them as two separate ingredients that are stored in different compartments within the garlic clove. They don't interact with each other when the garlic is whole. When you bite into a whole clove of garlic and swallow it, or when you slice garlic and immediately toss it into a hot pan, those two substances don't get the chance to properly meet and react. And if you hit them with high heat too quickly, You destroy the enzyme before it can do its job. The result, the allicin never forms. You're basically just eating spicy, aromatic water. You're missing out on all the good stuff. So, how do you wake up this sleeping giant? How do you get the allicin to actually appear? It requires one absolutely essential step. You have to crush, or press the garlic. You need to break those cell walls, slice it into thin pieces, or even better, use a mortar and pestle to grind it into a paste. But that's only half the battle. After you crush it, you absolutely must let it sit. Do not cook it immediately. Do not eat it immediately. Leave it exposed to the air on your cutting board or in your bowl for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Why? Because the chemical reaction that creates allicin requires oxygen. When you crush the garlic, the align and the enzyme mix together. But they need time and exposure to air to fully react and generate that potent allicin. That strong, pungent smell that fills your kitchen when you crush garlic. That's the allicin being born. If you give it that 15-minute window, you maximize the yield. If you cook it right away, you kill the process before it really gets started. Now that you know the science, what's the best way to eat garlic to get the benefits? I want to share a recipe that older generations, especially in some traditional cultures, have loved for a long time. It's simple, it's delicious, and it's scientifically sound. It's called garlic mashed with egg. Why pair garlic with egg? Because eggs are one of the best sources of high quality protein, and protein is the building block your immune system needs to create antibodies and immune cells. Think of it this way: the egg provides the raw materials, the bricks and mortar, and the garlic provides the weapon, the allicin that helps fight off invaders. Together, they're a powerful team for supporting your immune system. Here's how to make it step by step. Step one is making your boiled eggs. Put fresh eggs in a pot and cover them with cold water. Bring the water to a boil, then reduce the heat and let them simmer for about 8 minutes. 8 minutes gives you a hard boiled egg with a yolk that's fully cooked but still tender and creamy, not dry and chalky. That's the sweet spot for texture and nutrient retention. Once they're done, scoop them out and put them in cold water to cool down. Peel them, put them in a bowl, and mash them up with a fork until they're finely crumbled. You want a consistent texture. Step two is waking up the garlic, and this is the crucial part. Take several cloves of garlic, peel them, and put them in a mortar and pestle. Add just a tiny pinch of salt. This helps with the grinding and also draws out a little moisture. Grind and pound until you have a smooth, fine paste. Now, here's where discipline comes in. Once it's crushed, leave it alone. Don't add it to anything yet. Just let it sit there in the mortar exposed to the air for a full 15 minutes. Let that allicin form. Set a timer if you have to. Step three is the golden ratio mix. After 15 minutes have passed, scrape that garlic paste into the bowl with your mashed egg. A good ratio to aim for is about 2 parts egg to 1 part garlic by volume. This gives you plenty of garlic flavor and benefits without being so intense that it overwhelms your palate or irritates your stomach. Step 4 is final seasoning. Add a generous drizzle of good quality sesame oil or olive oil. Add a little more salt if you need it. To taste, then take your chopsticks or a spoon and mix everything together, stirring in one direction until it's well combined. Now just take a moment to smell this. The aroma is incredible. My favorite way to eat this. In the morning, take a couple of warm steamed white buns or some good bread, slice them open, and spread a thick layer of this garlic egg mixture inside. Take a bite, you get the soft, creamy egg, the sharp, fresh kick of the garlic, and the warmth of the bread. Eating this in the morning is one of the best things you can do to set yourself up for the day. It sticks with you, it satisfies you, and it genuinely helps support your body's defenses. All right, we've covered 3. Now let's talk about the 4th natural anti-inflammatory food, and this one is often overlooked: celery. When I ask people about celery, especially patients who are a little older, they almost always know the basics. They'll say celery is good for blood pressure, or it has a lot of fiber, good for keeping things moving, preventing constipation, and they're exactly right. Those are well-established benefits of celery. But what a lot of people don't realize is that celery has another layer to it. It's also a really impressive anti-inflammatory food. And this benefit is thanks to a specific compound it contains called luteolin. Luteolin is a fascinating substance. Scientists who have studied it describe its action in a really interesting way. Think of it as putting a protective shield, almost like an invisible armor, around each of your cells. When a virus, like a cold virus or a flu virus, enters your body, its whole goal is to find a healthy cell attached to it, get inside, and then use that cell to make more copies of itself. That's how an infection takes hold. Luteolin can actually interfere with that process. It helps prevent the virus from being able to stick to your healthy cells. If the virus can't attach, it can't get in, it can't replicate. It just kind of bounces around until your body's immune cells can find it and destroy it. At the same time, luteolin also helps strengthen the mucous membranes that line your respiratory tract and your digestive system. It makes those barriers tougher and more resilient. So you have a double layer of protection. You're making it harder for viruses to enter in the first place, and you're making it harder for them to set up shop even if they do get in. This can help your body fend off all kinds of seasonal infections and even some stubborn chronic inflammatory conditions. And here's a little bonus fact for you. Luteolin isn't just in celery, it's also found in some of the other foods we have talked about, like dandelion, and in other slightly bitter greens that people enjoy, like endive. So that slightly bitter taste you get in some of these vegetables, that's often a sign that you're getting these beneficial compounds. Embrace the bitterness, it's your friend. Now, this brings me to a kitchen habit that drives me crazy, and I see it all the time. Think about what you do when you buy a bunch of celery. You bring it home, and what's the first thing you do? You grab that big handful of green leaves at the top, and you chop them right off. You put them in the trash, you keep the stalks, and you throw away the leaves. My friends, please stop doing this. The celery leaves are not garbage. They are a nutritional treasure. When researchers have actually measured the nutrient content, the numbers are striking. The leaves contain many times more of certain vitamins and phytonutrients than the stalks. We're talking about things like beta carotene, which is important for eye health and immunity. The leaves can have many times more than the stalks. Vitamin C content, again, much higher in the leaves. You are quite literally taking the most nutrient dense, most anti-inflammatory part of the celery plant and throwing it in the trash. While keeping the part that's mostly crunchy water and fiber, it's like buying a whole chicken and only eating the feet. So to make sure you never waste another celery leaf, let me share a fantastic recipe that uses the entire plant. We're going to make a two-part dish, a rich, flavorful sauce using the celery stalks, and beautiful green homemade noodles using the leaves that you use to throw away. It's a complete meal that's packed with anti-inflammatory goodness. Here's how it works, step by step. Step one is making the sauce. Get a pot or a skillet heating on the stove with a little oil, add some thinly sliced pork, loin or shoulder works well, and cook it until it renders some fat and starts to brown and get fragrant. Then add some finely diced carrots for sweetness and color and some diced mushrooms. Shiitake are great if you have them for extra savory flavor. Saute everything together until the vegetables start to soften. Add a splash of light soy sauce for seasoning and toss in some chopped green onions. Now add your finely chopped celery stalks. Stir everything together. Then pour in about 2 cups of hot water, or even better, if you have some homemade chicken or vegetable stock, use that. Now season, add a little sugar to balance the flavors, a tiny pinch of white pepper for warmth, and maybe a spoonful of oyster sauce if you have it. Put a lid on the pot and let everything simmer together for a few minutes so the flavors can meld. Finally, to thicken the sauce into something rich and spoonable, mix a little cornstarch with cold water to make a slurry and stir it in. Let it bubble and thicken until it's glossy, then take it off the heat and set it aside. Step 2 is making the celery leaf noodles, and this is where the magic happens. Bring a small pot of water to a boil and add a pinch of salt. Take those celery leaves you saved and drop them into the boiling water for just a minute, long enough to wilt them, but not long enough to lose their color. Scoop them out immediately, run them under cold water to stop the cooking, and then, this is important, use your hands to squeeze out every single drop of water. You want them as dry as you can possibly get them. Put them on your cutting board and chop them until they're very, very fine, almost a paste. Now get a large bowl, put in a couple of cups of all-purpose flour or whole wheat flour. Add your finely chopped celery leaves, slowly add a little warm water, a tablespoon at a time, and start mixing with your hands. You're going to knead this into a smooth dough. As you work it, the dough will take on a beautiful pale green color, speckled with darker green bits from the leaves. It's really lovely. It looks like Jade's step 3 is shaping and cooking the noodles. Once your dough is smooth, let it rest. Covered with a damp cloth for about 20 to 30 minutes. This relaxes the gluten and makes it easier to work with. After it rests, take the dough and divide it into smaller pieces. On a lightly floured surface, roll each piece into a long rope, about as thick as your finger. Then you can either cut the ropes into smaller pieces Or you can do a fun technique, take each piece and gently stretch and flatten it between your hands to make thin, rustic noodles. Bring another pot of water to a boil, drop your fresh noodles in, and cook them until they float to the surface and are tender, just a couple of minutes for fresh pasta. Step 4 is assembly. Drain your beautiful green noodles and put them in a deep bowl. Ladle that rich, savory pork and celery sauce right over the top. The hot sauce will coat every noodle, and there you have it, a bowl of noodles that's fragrant, satisfying, and uses the entire celery plant. The noodles are chewy and have that subtle celery flavor from the leaves. The sauce is hearty and savory from the stalks. You're getting the blood pressure benefits, the fiber, and the luteolin all in one meal, and you didn't waste a single part. So let's bring this all together. After listening to all of this, I hope you're starting to see your regular grocery store in a new light. It's not just a place to pick up ingredients. It's like walking through a pharmacy of whole foods that can genuinely support your health and help you feel better every day to make sure you can actually use this information in your daily life. Let's do a quick recap of the key points. Number 1, remember shepherd's purse. Think of it as your firefighter. It helps cool down that springtime heat in your head and throat, the dizziness, the dry throat, the unexplained tooth discomfort. It's a natural choice for dealing with acute sore throats and upper respiratory stuffiness. The best way to eat it, that simple cold salad with smoked tofu. And remember, you absolutely need to blanch it first to remove some of that bitterness and make it more digestible. Number 2, dandelion. This is your detox ally. The milky white sap in the stems and leaves has antibacterial properties, and the root is the most concentrated source of beneficial compounds. Whatever you do, do not throw the root away. Make it into tea so you can get the benefits year round. But here's the serious warning. Dandelion is very cooling if you have a sensitive stomach or you're prone to loose stools. Be careful with it. If you do use it, balance it with something warming like fresh ginger. Number 3, garlic. This is your broad spectrum defender. It really does have legitimate antimicrobial properties, but it only works if you prepare it correctly. The rule is simple. You must crush it, and then you must let it sit exposed to the air for at least 15 minutes before you cook it or eat it. If you skip that step, you get flavor, but you don't get the alicin. The garlic mashed with egg recipe is a perfect, simple way to get both the garlic and the protein your immune system needs. Number 4, celery. This is your cellular bodyguard. Thanks to the compound luteolin, it helps protect your cells from viral invaders and strengthens your natural barriers. And the most important thing to remember, the leaves are not trash. They are more nutrient dense than the stalks. Use the stalks for sauces and soups and turn the leaves into beautiful green noodles or chop them into salads. Stop throwing away the best part. Now I want to leave you with a second and very important point of consideration. Everything we've talked about today is about using food to support your body's natural defenses. These foods can help you build a foundation of health, reduce everyday inflammation, and potentially make you more resilient to seasonal bugs. They are part of a healthy lifestyle, and I genuinely believe in their power. But we also have to keep a scientific, balanced perspective. If you are running a high fever, if you have a serious infection like pneumonia, or if you have an acute, painful, purulent inflammation somewhere in your body, these foods are not going to be enough on their own. Their effects are real, but they are also relatively slow and gentle compared to modern medicine. In an emergency or a serious illness, you need to go to the doctor, you need to get properly diagnosed, and you need to follow your doctor's advice, which may include prescription antibiotics or other medications. These foods are not a replacement for that. Think of it this way, these foods help you build a strong wall so you don't get sick as often. But if the wall is breached and there's a real fire inside, you call the fire department. You don't just throw more vegetables at it. If you're dealing with any specific health concerns, please schedule a visit with your primary care doctor. I'm here to help you understand the science behind nutrition and wellness. But I am not here to replace professional medical advice for your individual situation. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss future videos. And I really want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below and let me know which of these 4 foods are you most excited to try. Do you have any questions about how to prepare them? Or if you have your own favorite recipe using celery leaves or dandelion root, please share it with the community. Let's learn from each other. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.